So we got the transmission back from the not the transmission shop, but from getting that little piece welded where it had a leak back there. So we're gonna go ahead and start the install. So we're gonna place this back in. This is face up right here. That sits right inside of there, and it has a little groove that it sits in. Then we're gonna place this snap ring inside. The snap ring is actually what holds that in place. You can take a set of snap ring pliers right here. Again, make sure this is seated in there properly. Oh, yeah, you gotta be careful with these. Okay. And you should be able to hear that clip into place when it is seated properly. Okay, that's in place now. Okay. If we get up in here, you see that little opening? That's for your fill. That shows you that the transmission's full. So make sure that snap ring has the keyhole right there to where you're able to see out of it, right there. And then when you're cleaning this up, you want to go ahead and use a razor blade. You see how it's just cleaning all that up right there. So first we're gonna razor blade it. Make sure you're not flinging shit up inside of there. Pull it away from the transmission. Don't pull it like you're pushing it in the transmission. So what we're gonna do right now is use a wire brush. Don't dig into it. We just wanna basically just hit it real quick and get this existing silicone gasket off, so when we put the new gasket on, we won't have any issues with it leaking. So just a real quick light one. You don't want to score it at all. And make sure the brush is spinning the opposite way so you're not sending shit into the gearbox. We're gonna take some acetone, clean this off before we put the new silicone on it. That way it's free of any grease and oil and grime. So right now, just cleaning this up. One thing about this right here is you see this snap ring, just make sure the opening is right here. That way the fluid can flow from there. So, already got this thing blowed out, cleaned it all up, got it all dry now. Finishing this up right here. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then we'll get to the install. We got our RTV still in here. We're not gonna make the common mistake a lot of people make. What they'll usually do is they'll fucking just like a retarded pastry chef. Like a fucking straight retarded pastry chef. You don't do that. You do not do that, because what happens is this thing closes so tight that, I mean, there's a paper layer thinness of gasket that will be in there. So all that fucking pastry chef shit you did is either gonna blow out over the edges like this person did prior to us. He had so much blowout, or it's gonna blow out inside or fill the bolt holes like it did right here. So do not fucking become a New York pastry chef when you're doing this. All it takes is a little bit, then you're just gonna go around the edges. You can go around the bolt holes, so just do it like this. And you squeeze from the back of the tube. Don't fucking be a retard and squeeze from the center. And you can fold the back of the tube too, right there. So you do that, and what you do is go around. Again, nothing crazy. Go around to your points, and you want to put about 2 millimeters of gasket on there. So you're gonna do the whole transmission like that. And if you get any inside, just wipe off the excess. That's from the pastry chef right there. I don't want none of that pastry chef shit in there. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing all laced up, and I'll show you what it looks like before I close it. Got that taken care of. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make that little 2 millimeter thickness that I was telling you about. So we're gonna just lightly spread it all throughout. That way it's covering it. Again, if you go overboard, take your finger inside, wipe it out. So you're gonna do the same thing for the casing. Spread it everywhere. Make sure it's like 2 millimeters thick. If you got overboard, like I do on this side, don't wipe it into the transmission. Push it off, because once the transmission's back together, you could just cut that off with a razor blade. The excess, so. All right, now that we got that taken care of, we're gonna go ahead and make the two parts together. These would have like dowel pins in it, but this guy who I got it from, I guess there's no dowel pins, but let's get this going. So we're gonna do it in reverse order. So the first thing to do is to get this clip back open so we can sit it over the bearing. So, and this is probably the hardest part to do out of the whole install. Again, take your time. Don't stress out. They'll go back together. So one of the hardest things to do is to get this clip back inside of here, back to where it should be. Don't stress, just take your time, get it done. All right, so we got that done. Everything's taken care of. So what we're gonna do now is lace up the transmission again. So after we lace up the transmission, we're gonna put the ball back inside with the spring back inside of these ones right here. So how we took it apart on the first video, that's how you're gonna put it back together. So if you need to reference the first video, go ahead, reference the first video. I'm not gonna waste any more time with this right here because it's pretty much reverse install, just how we took it apart. Transmission is perfect. I'm not gonna waste your time. So if you need any type of reference always take pictures of what you do before you pull shit apart. The best thing to do is always organize and put it up in magnetic pans or put it in some type of Ziploc baggie to where you'll remember where it came from. So again, reverse install, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing laced up, and the next video that we put out that has to do with the transmission will be then clutch and the flywheel install. So clutch is gonna go on here, flywheel's gonna go on there. All right, thanks guys.